Good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are today. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, what's new in Asigra Cloud Backup version 13.2. Today we'll be taking you through the new features and updates for our upcoming release, version 13.2. A few quick reminders about the call today. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on the partner portal tomorrow. If there are any questions, please use the chat box at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and I refer to the chat box as opposed to the question box. We prefer if you use the chat box for questions. We will be answering questions at the end of the webinar presentation. If we don't have a chance to answer your question today, or you would like to have a further conversation about this release, we encourage you to reach out to your account executive or email us at marketing@asigra.com. Before we get started, let me do introductions to the members of the Asigra team who are participating in the call today. Myself, my name is Michael Stevens. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Asigra. Joining me on the call today is Al Olivier, our VP of Engineering, Brian Vazari, our Senior Manager, Software Engineering, and Gerson Guevara, our Pre-Sales Engineer. So the release date for 13.2 is tomorrow, Friday, June 30th. It will be available on the standard portals for download as of tomorrow. And so now I'd like to introduce and hand over the presentation to Al Olivier, our VP of Engineering, to take you through some of the release items and some of the incremental new features coming on board with 13.2. Go ahead, Al.
Thank you, Michael. To start, we can look at the prerequisites. 13.2, as Michael mentioned, is available tomorrow, which is June 30th, for download. It's available as a new installation or as an upgrade. And if you are going to upgrade, minimum requirement is that you are on a 13.1 release or later. For those of you that are still on a 12.x, unfortunately, the upgrade is not available to 13.2. We recommend that you contact technical support to work out the details, and we would love to work with you to understand how we can get you to a 13.x and move you away from 12.x. Some quick updates on support in terms of operating system, databases, and backup sets. So first on the list, we are now able to support Windows Server 2016. Note that all these are 64-bit. With respect to Windows Server 2016, we support 3 editions: Standard, Essentials, and Data Center. Aside from Windows, also Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.3, CentOS 7.3, and Oracle Linux 7.3. Database support, we made an enhancement to how the product installs. Currently, the product installs using Microsoft SQL Server. To reduce some licensing costs, we are now able to support Postgres SQL 9.6 on new installations. This is available for the full featured DS1 on Windows, Linux, and Mac, BLM, DS License, DS NOC, DS System. Second note on Postgres, in terms of backup sets, we support, the theme here is cloud. So in terms of backup sets, we support the cloud backup sets, which is Google Suites, Office 365, Salesforce.com, Microsoft Exchange Server, and SQL Server. Next are new features. We've made some significant improvements to our product documentation. It is now available through an online portal. It's HTML-based. For those of you who like to translate this, you can easily use Google Translate and have access to over 100 languages. This will be great for us because as we make product changes and updates to the documentation, it will not require a hotfix or a minor release. We can make these changes live against different versions. Just to give you a quick preview of what that looks like, this is the portal, and it's available as of 13.2.
Thank you, Al. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ryan with the new LDAP integration feature with Asigra. And this functionality will provide more advanced management for the DS client account and provide enterprise solution for LDAP for both editing and reading directory over IP network, and enable the user to make use of one information directory containing user data. In terms of advantage, this has more secure. That means the Active Directory verification is applied on top of traditional DS client. It also has centralized management. That means the Active Directory can control everything within the network, including connection between DS client and DS system. It also has easier to control, and that also means customer can enable and disable this feature at any time. It also has the flexibility to locate the Active Directory at different locations. And in terms of the user experience, it's very easy to use. It's a one-time setup. The user has to type their own Active Directory username and password in DS client. The DS client will continue to back up the data as long as Active Directory account is active.
We've added a new feature to support restoring of to PSD files. So this applies to Office 365 backup sets and Exchange Server through EWS backups. And again, this is a new file format for restoring to PSD.
So this is, again, another new feature with Asigra for 2FA. Imagine waking up in the summer, opening your laptop, realizing you cannot access your data anymore. So 2FA will provide additional layer of protection that can significantly decrease the risk of the hacker accessing your Asigra account to delete the data. The system user can now enable 2FA to control which DS client user can delete data from the backup set. This client user who are configured with 2FA now receive an email with the code they must enter before they can assign a retention rule or delete data from backup set via DS user or API. In terms of the benefit, it will improve security, reduce data theft, increase flexibility, and reduce operational costs. The next feature is the enhancement for the security. To do that, what we have done to protect your data from potential malicious attack, the name of the default directory folder used for DS system storage now randomly generated during the installation process. To rename the default directory folder from existing DS system deployment, you can certainly contact our technical support and they will assist you during this process.
Today we'll be announcing the VMware Near Synchronous Replication beta availability. The VMware Near Synchronous Replication feature uses the vSphere APIs for I/O filtering BIO framework to offer policy-based management of VMs. The solution requires a production or disaster recovery environment that can communicate with each other over the LAN or WAN. DS client users can now perform the following tasks between two sites: initial replication of VMs, near synchronous replication of VMs, fail over to the latest state of a replicated VM, and fail back of the latest state of a replicated VM. The VMware Near Synchronous Replication feature is available as a beta release and should only be used by customers participating in the beta program. For more information, please contact Asigra Technical Support.
Now we have some enhanced functionality with respect to Office 365 backup sets. To counter the throttling limitation of the Office 365 portal, I'm not sure how many of you know this, but if we take data too fast from the portal, Microsoft will disconnect us. So to counter this limitation, we've implemented some batching to throttle how we retrieve the data. That is now available. And a quick two updates in terms of performance. A single DS client can support up to 1,800 mailboxes. And we lifted a file attachment limitation from 2 gigs to 10 gigs.
So that's the end of the presentation in terms of new features and functionality in 13.2. Resources availability, as I mentioned earlier, this presentation, a recording of this presentation, as well as the release notes, will be put in the appropriate places on the iBread Partner Portal and the Tech Support Portal. That will happen tomorrow. Also, I want you to be aware of our next upcoming webinar, which will be July 14th, where we will take you through the rest of the 2017 roadmap. So we'll give you an overview of the new features and functionalities that will be being launched during 2017 and give you the timelines related to that. We'll be sending out those invitations and notifications early next week, so please be aware that's forthcoming and register for that webinar when you get the email. That is the end of the presentation. If there's any questions, please, as I mentioned, use the chat box. We're online now. We will respond to any of those. Likewise, if you have any further questions, you're more than welcome to direct them to marketing@asigra.com, and we can follow up with those questions. I do have one question. Is there an upgrade path, migration path from Windows DS clients previously using Microsoft SQL to Postgres?
At this stage of 13.2, we only support new installations. We are working on a migration path, and we'll be making an announcement in the fall with regards to that.
Are there any other questions? I understand there's a limit of around 5,000 files in Office 365. Is this lifted?
Yes. Yes, it has been lifted. Now you can actually put more than 5,000 limitations. What we have done, we package them as each request within the 1,000 file. So certainly if you have more than 5,000, you can send the request and you receive all of your files.
I don't see any other questions right now. Again, thank you very much for participating today. As I mentioned, if you do have follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us at marketing@asigra.com or contact your account executive. We'd be more than happy to follow up with those questions. Likewise, just a reminder that we will be scheduling a webinar with the upcoming roadmap webinar for July 14th. Thank you very much for your participation today. As I also mentioned, everything will be available on the partner portals and the technical support portals tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Cheers, bye.